Hi friends, welcome to Breast Cancer is Bullshit, hosted by Kate. Links to Kate's channel and the playlist will be in the description box. Okay, for this first DIY, we are going to make a giant piece of fake candy corn. So I found an image on Free Clip Art and I traced it with some parchment paper and cut it out. And then I'm using just a piece of styrofoam from a package, and I'm going to use a serrated edge knife to cut out my candy corn shape. So I really love candy corn. It's one of my favorite, if not my most favorite Halloween candy. And I thought, well, I don't want to do anything like spooky for Pink Day, so I'll do something cutesy and make like a pink candy corn. Unfortunately, my ballet slipper chalk paint dried out, so I didn't have that as my second pink color. So I'm gonna rely on my lavender sachet to be the secondary color for my candy corn. I'm using Crayola air dry clay, a 2.5 pound bowl of this. I found this at Walmart, so I'm just going to take out a couple of chunks and hopefully this will be enough to cover my piece of styrofoam. And I have a little wooden roller that I'm going to use to roll this out. This is a method that my friend Monica from Up All Night DIY, she covers clay piece or foam pieces with clay when she makes these like really awesome characters. So I'm going to attempt to do the same thing rather than just making a big, huge, solid clay candy corn. I'll just roll out a sheet and then cover over my styrofoam once I get my clay rolled out large enough. So once I got my clay all rolled out to a size that seemed like it would be enough to wrap around my styrofoam piece, I removed all of the wax paper and I start to just wrap the clay around the styrofoam cutout. And along the top, when I was trying to smooth out the back, it just the way the clay the way it was rolled out and like that excess, I initially just tried to fold it over, and then I just went and just started to cut some of the clay and kind of take those cut pieces and cover over the spaces that were bare, and just pinching the clay together, smoothing it out with my fingers, and just trying to get it as smooth as possible so that when I apply my paint that I have a nice smooth surface. And once I was finished, just using my fingers to kind of manipulate the clay and to get kind of a full coverage look over the styrofoam, I just took a small piece of a wet sponge and just went around and smoothed out all the extra little bumps that were still there and little digs in from my fingernails. So once I was finished sponging off the piece, I let it set for about 30 hours. And then when I went to check on it, I saw that it really felt like it was had hardened, and it had a nice white cast over it. Some areas did kind of have a grayish tinge, but for the most part, it was all like a white cast was all over it. And so I'm starting in on my paint, and I have my little candy corn there as my guide to appropriately section off my colors. And like, I really need to get more white paint. Like I it took quite a few shakes to get the white paint to get the top of this done. So then I move on to my lavender sachet, and this painter's tape is just to help give me a guide, and so I can have a nice crisp line on the front. If I would have had more white paint, then I could have just mixed my white paint with some red and just made my own different sort of shade of pink to go along with that cameo. But I seriously have like almost no white paint left in the bottle, so I wouldn't have enough to mix to really make a nice pink. So still these nice light shades I think still complement each other and will look very nice for a Pinktober DIY piece. So now I'm adding just my cameo pink in, and then once this dries, I have a small little pink ribbon button from a package that I had gotten at AC Moore before they closed down. And I'm just going to add that piece on with Fix-All glue that I found at Dollar Tree. So I have a permanent hold, and I'll add my little pink ribbon right in the middle on that lavender section. And here is my completed sweet Pinktober candy corn piece. The colors really do complement each other. I think this turned out really adorably, and I would love to know, what do you think? Breast cancer is the most common cancer diagnosed among women in the United States. It's the second leading cause of death from cancer among women, coming second only to lung cancer. So for this DIY, I have a witch hat from Dollar Tree, some yarn and lace from Valentine's Day, and some pearl stickers that I may or may not use. So I'm going to start just by pulling off that little fake buckle, and I put that aside so I can use it at the end. And then I'm going to get all of this tinsel cut off. There are little nubs on all of these tinsel pieces that help to hold the tinsel on. So it's just a matter of like snipping around to get all of the tinsel pulled away from all of those little nubbies. And then once I have all of that pulled off, I start with my pink yarn. It's a plushy type yarn, and there's a little gap at the top, little area where I can add my yarn. So I just add that in, and I just start to wind my way all the way down to the bottom of the hat. And then once I get once I get to the bottom, I don't start on the brim yet. I go back up to the top just so I get a nice amount of coverage with this plush yarn. Now to start around the brim, I'm going to loop it through and add a little bit of hot glue, and then I kind of wrap around the base once, and then I just go in and out of the little areas around the brim. Initially I used just one long string, and then I doubled it up just so I would get more coverage, and it would go quicker and have a thicker appearance. My vinyl picking tool was extremely helpful in pulling the yarn in and out of all of the little spots on the brim. So once I completed all of the brim area, I hot glued the remaining portion of the yarn underneath, and then I took some more of the yarn and I went around the little area between the brim and where the base of the hat actually starts, just to fill in that area. And I glued 2 rows of yarn around that area, and then the little nubbies that were showing around the side of the brim, I went ahead and added more yarn there. And then I moved on to getting that lace ribbon. They're little hearts. I found that at Valentine's Day, and I thought this would be really cute to add for a pink witch hat, to have just instead of just a solid piece of fabric around the bottom, just to have a cute piece of lace. And once I had all of my lace secured, I took the little holographic looking buckle and glued that back onto the area where the lace ended, the two ends met. And there it is, my cute little pink witch hat. So adorable. The witch that wears this hat is a nice witch and she does not cast bad spells. So for this DIY, I'm using a galvanized bucket from Dollar Tree, more of that cameo pink, and a cutout of a jack-o'-lantern face that I found free on Design Space. So I'm just gonna sponge this pink over my bucket, and then once it dries, I'm gonna add my little jack-o'-lantern face, not the body of the jack-o'-lantern, just the face, because the bucket is supposed to be his body. And then on the other side, I had cut out Hope, but it didn't, the vinyl was not cooperating with me. So then I just ended up using Dollar Tree poster stickers just to spell out Hope in the big block letters. And once I added the E, that was it. And I added some pretty light colored fall florals into my little pink jack-o'-lantern bucket. And that was it. Super simple, but so cute to celebrate Pink Day. And we all hope for a cure for this terrible disease. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget there is a playlist. I'll have a link in the description box along with the link to Kate's channel. Have a blessed day.